Maybe asking yourself, what's with the get up? Well, this is my kaiju outfit for the character. I'm gonna be cosplaying him, but if you want to see the full unboxing about this suit, go check out my other channel. I just did an unboxing, but that's not what this video is. Today we're gonna be talking about one of my favorite characters in like the entire series, arguably like the best character in my personal opinion. I do want to give a fair warning. I probably will talk about some spoilers, so like about this character, but I'm not going to talk about too much about the story, so like be aware of that. If you don't want to watch this video, skip on. But let's talk about like the best character in Kaiju No.8, because in my opinion is really cool. He's really cool. Fun fact, how I would compare like this character, think of him like a more modern take on Levi Ackerman from Attack on Titan. He's basically a lot cooler, like a lot cooler, at least in my personal opinion. He's also kind of like Goku. Keep that in mind, because that'll come back into play towards the end of the video when I discuss like his motivation and stuff. But what exactly do we know about Soshiro? Well, not much, if I'm being honest, because so far we almost have like zero like backstory for him. We don't like have too much in depth about him, like who he is, like what he likes to do. But as the story progresses, we get to learn pieces and tidbits about him, which makes him pretty fascinating. And ultimately, when we find out his motivation, I think it's a pretty fair one, and it's a compelling one. Like, it's not too deep compared to some of the other characters, but it's a pretty fun explanation regarding him. What we do know is like he first appears like in the first major arc of the series, which is the training arc, and he's the sole reason Kafka even got into the Kaiju Defense Corps, because he thought like Kafka was a pretty funny dude, like for messing up, even trying like seeing this old like 30-year-old dude like trying to like keep up with these like 18-20-year-olds. He found it pretty funny, so he promoted him to like first sergeant or something like that. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but like he's the sole reason he got Kafka into the like Defense Corps. He gave him a chance because he thought he was pretty funny. Like, okay, let's see what this guy's all about. If he sucks, I'll just kick him out. And as we get to learn more and more, he doesn't really play too much of a factor like in the first few chapters, but after like the big battle, after the training arc, and once he encounters like Kafka in his kaiju form, that's when we get to see him like be like such a badass. Like his fight with Kafka in Monster No.8, that is really interesting. We get to see him like hold nothing back. He unleashes his full combat percentage, and like bro does not like hold anything back. He is aiming to deliver the kill to Kafka. At this time, he doesn't know Kafka is Kaiju No.8, but like the fight is really good. Like you can tell this guy seriously has a lot of skill. Who is this guy? Why does he know so much about sword fighting, and why does he really use any guns? It's not till like later on in the like series, towards like the base attack later down the line. I believe it's like in the 5th volume or the 3rd volume. I can't remember the arc what it's called, but it's when the base of the 3rd division is attacked by Kaiju number 10, and we get to see him fight Kaiju number 10. That fight is pretty fun. Like we get to see him like do more of his sword techniques. Like the cool thing about Soshiro, like if you're a fan of like knives and like swordplay, this guy, like think about it like Levi with the skills of the Hashira from Demon Slayer. Like combine those, and this is the character that you get. Like it is so freaking awesome, like seeing him like in the story like use all these techniques as he's fighting Kaiju number 10. It is super cool, like this mega sized kaiju, and he's just over here like slashing and using all these techniques. It's pretty interesting because a lot of the other characters in this series, they mostly use like weapons like guns and stuff like that, or big cannons, or like throwing fists, or if you're Kikoro, use a big freaking axe. He just straight up uses like swords. Like he loves to go hand-to-hand combat with these other kaijus, and it's shown that he's a master swordsman and a master tactician. From like a little boy, he studied. He was like the best at being a swordsman compared to like his older brother, who was the best at like being a marksman. He was never really good at being a marksman, which is why his preferred choice of combat is mostly swordplay and using swords, which I think is pretty fascinating in the world of kaijus, where like some of these monsters are like twice, even 10 times your size. Like using guns is useful, but sometimes you'll run out of ammo, so like using swords, like the practical way, like the old way, kind of makes sense. But like in this world where like kaijus are ever evolving and technology is ever evolving, using swords kind of comes into question. Like a lot of people end up questioning like his motives, saying, why are you using swords? Are you not gonna learn how to be like a better marksman? Because like, yeah, you know, at some point, like fighting these gigantic behemoths, like it's gonna get you killed if you use hand-to-hand combat close to close. And I really like his character like motivation. Like he just wants to like prove himself to others that he can do what he can do. What I really like about this character is that despite how mysterious and like charismatic and like ghostly he seems to be, he's actually a pretty incredibly nice guy. He cares for like his teammates and those around him. He goes out of his way to make sure people stay who they are. He makes sure to keep them calm. And with Kafka, I really like his dynamic with Kafka, how they like at first the only reason he promoted him to be on the defense corp is because he had a suspicion that Kafka was like different, like something about him was like really different. And after his fight with Kaiju No.8, he noticed Kafka acting kind of different, and he started to like be very suspicious of like his actual motivations of like, who is Kafka? Like something is really off about him, so I better keep my eye on him. And I really like when these two characters bond. And I think Soshiro saw something in him, like the brother he always wanted, like someone who would always be positive around him. Because the thing about Soshiro is like he's very complacent. He understands like what others tells him. He like tends to follow orders. He's never really had like too much like of his own personality, because his entire life he was dedicated to training and mastering swordsman skills and always being compared to his older brother. So like seeing Kafka, I guess it kind of reminded him that okay, this guy is something different. And as the story progresses, we get to see like more development for like Soshiro. Like we get to see him like bond with Kaiju No.8. Like Kaiju No.10, he's turned into his like monster suit. That's a whole big like arc. It's very spoilery, so I don't really want to get too much into that. But yes, no, he develops a friendship with Kaiju No.10 because he's turned into like a monster suit. I won't get into details what happens with that, or they let this like arc, his awakening, how they ultimately team up to defeat another kaiju. It is really good, and his actual motivation for like being who he is, spoilers by the way, this is a big spoiler, is he just wants to fight. Like he loves to fight for the thrill of it. Have to change the fit to something more comfortable, but yeah, that's ultimately who Soshiro Hoshina is. He's the master swordsman of the 3rd division. He's vice captain of the 3rd division, and he's overall a pretty charismatic and charming guy who does things for the thrill of it. Ultimately, that's why I love and adore his character, because he's pretty interesting. Unlike other characters in the series, he doesn't really have like too much of the backstory. He just kind of does it just to do it, just to improve himself and just to prove to others that he can do what he does. But yeah, if you guys like this video, be sure to comment down, tell me if you like him, who's your favorite character, what other character analysis do you want me to break down or do you want to see, because I'm planning on doing like all the characters in Kaiju No.8, just explaining them. I'm debating between Kikoru or Reno, because like those two characters are pretty cool. I might do Kikoru since she's kind of like the second protagonist of this series, but I'm not too sure about that. Anyways, if you want to see the unboxing of my kaiju outfit, click the video down here. Go on to my other channel. If you want to learn more about kaiju or my thoughts on the trailer, click down here. But with that being said, have a good night, have a good morning. But yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one.